Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Carpe Natem Podcast. I'm your host, Nate De La Hoya-Reynoso, and I want to say thank you for being a listener today. This episode, I want to talk about resilience. Resilience is defined as the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. It's considered toughness. It is also defined as the ability of a substance or object to spring back into shape, elasticity. Resilience is how you get back and how you bounce back from your most difficult moments in life. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you're old, you have definitely faced your fair share of adversity, of circumstances out of your control that have put you in places you wish to never return to. If you're young, you may have already experienced tragedy in your life, or maybe you haven't. If you haven't, then you've been blessed more than most. But at some point, everyone, does not matter who, will face circumstances that will bring you to such a low point where the thought of death sometimes feels like it would be a better relief than to go through whatever you're going through. Let me be clear, I do not condone suicide, nor am I an advocate for ending your life. I believe that all life is precious and everyone has something to contribute regardless of what they've been through. With that being said, if you are listening to this podcast and you have these feelings of possibly killing yourself, if you feel suicidal, if you feel like life may be too overwhelming for you to handle, I highly recommend finding someone like a doctor, a counselor, a psychiatrist, someone to help you through what you're going through right now. Sometimes counseling is needed for the most extreme cases, and I highly recommend therapy and counseling, group one-on-one, whatever it may be. Look for help because there is help for you if you really are feeling like life is just too overwhelming for you. For most, if not for everyone listening to this, there are times where you are going to feel hopelessness. You are going to feel bleak and you are going to think that no matter what you do, things will not improve. Sometimes the situation you are in is self-caused. You are responsible for the thing that happened, and the outcomes that you are facing are results of your own actions. Sometimes the perils we face and the inconveniences that we experience aren't a direct result of our actions, but something that happened to us by someone else. Regardless of the situation, you listening to this podcast need to have resilience. You are the product of several generations that have survived from the dawn of man to now. You are the direct result of your ancestors coming back and stepping up to the plate time and time again, despite whatever they had gone through, to make sure that they carried on their lineage. As a species, our only goal is to survive and to move forward, and not survive in the sense that doing the bare minimum or achieving the bare minimum. We're talking about surviving at an optimal level, creating, finding passion, finding happiness, doing what we have to elevate ourselves, and so that way the next generation is given a chance better than ours. In order to make that future a reality, we have to have resilience. I have to have resilience. You have to have resilience. It doesn't matter how many times you've been punched in the face. It doesn't matter how many times you've been kicked down. It doesn't matter how many times you've been stepped on and spit on and treated like dirt. The actions of others towards you does not define who you are. You are way stronger than anything you have ever experienced. For those who believe in a Christian faith, there's a saying that God only gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. And if you want to remove the idea of God from the idea, you can replace it with the universe, karma, whatever it may be. The mother source will never give you battles that you cannot overcome. Our highest, truest self is looking at us and seeing our actions. And it is our duty to do what we can so that we may become that higher self, that best possible outcome that we want for our life. Whatever it takes to get to the next step, it takes resilience. If you're too busy looking at people on Facebook and Instagram and thinking to yourself, man, everyone has a better life than me, you need to stop that thinking, because what you're looking at is a bunch of highlight reels. Very few are showing the behind the scenes, the struggles, the adversities that they have faced, all the times they were rejected and denied and kicked down, beaten physically, mentally. It's not very often someone will share what they have gone through, so you only see the good things. Those people show resilience. Because if they're able to smile and put on, let's say it is a facade, to show how happy and how good their life is, in their way are showing their resilience. Those who choose to put negativity into the world, those who are constantly complaining, those who feel like the world owes them something, those people are showing their lack of resilience. This does not mean to be fake positive and super happy if you're not feeling happy. All your emotions are necessary. They all serve a purpose. Your anger, your sadness, your disgust, just like your joy and happiness, all have a place where they need to be expressed, and they can be channeled into something creative and positive with the potential to contribute to others. So if you are feeling upset, feel upset. If you have to vent, if you have to get your emotions out, if you have to write a letter and then burn that piece of paper so that way the thoughts that were overwhelming your brain and your thoughts are no longer in there, but in a physical reality where you can then destroy them so they no longer bother you in that moment, then do what you have to. Because once your tears have dried up, once you're able to catch your breath, once you take that step forward after feeling like you've been kicked down, that's when you show your resilience. That's when you come back and show everybody who doubted you that you are no one to fuck with. You show people that doubted you that you put in the time and the effort to make the comeback. You show yourself and prove to you that you could do the things you told others that you could do. Often I will see people working a job that they hate, or going to a school that they don't like, or doing something that they truly feel miserable doing to appease others, which is crazy because the people that they're trying to appeal to often don't even like them. I know I personally beat myself up over the opinions of others. I hate the fact that I need validation that comes from external sources. I am 27 years old and I've been seeking the approval of others since I was 2 or 3 years old. Some of my earliest memories was me trying to either impress quote unquote friends at school or trying to do something that'll make someone else happy. I don't understand why I think this way. I've been trying to unlearn this behavior, and I highly recommend anybody listening to this work on that as well. Because in the moments where you don't get that external validation, maybe you fail at doing the thing you wanted to do. You didn't get accepted into the school you wanted to get into. You didn't get the job you wanted. You didn't get the car you wanted. You got cheated on by your boyfriend or girlfriend. Whatever you were trying to do and failed at, know that it's okay to fail. And if you truly were meant to be in that spot, in that situation, in that car, in that relationship, then it would have been. It would have worked out. It would have succeeded if it was meant to be. And if it wasn't, that's when you pick yourself up by your bootstraps and you put in the work to either make it happen or find the thing that really is meant for you to have. And it all comes back to resilience. We will fall so many times in our life. I don't care if you have the resources, the parents, the education, whatever it may be, you will face some form of failure. But it's not avoiding failure that will be the death of us. It's the lack of resilience. Some people get told at an early age that whatever they wanted to do is silly. Why the hell are you going into the arts? You should be a scientist because that's where it makes money. Why the hell are you being a vet? Work on people instead. So these people make compromises with themselves and do things that they believe are better, quote unquote, for them, when in reality the thing that they do just makes them miserable, and they go through their life, maybe even years, at a job they hate, in a relationship that they hate, in a car that they hate, because they lacked the resilience to go back and do the thing that they wanted to do and fucking crush it. Some of the best fighters aren't the ones that knocked out every opponent. It's the ones that got punched and got back up when they got knocked down. Why do people like the Rocky movies so much? Because Sylvester Stallone gets his ass beat and he gets knocked to the ground and he gets back up despite everyone telling him to stay down. Rocky Balboa had resilience, and so did Sylvester Stallone. That man went through so much before he was able to sell his first movie script. If we want to talk about true resilience of someone who actually existed, Sylvester Stallone, the man who played Rocky Balboa, went through incredible adversity before he was able to make his movies. He was poor. He was kicked down. He was taking any job that would take him just so that he could get by. But that man had resilience. That man had an iron will, because no matter what he faced, he came back, and he came back stronger. A lot of people don't know this, but he was actually pitched an offer for Rocky, the movie, but they wanted to not cast him as the leading role. And that man turned it down. That dude was broke, in the negative. He had sold his dog for rent money, and he turned down several thousands of dollars because he had resilience. Someone told him, yes, but, and he said, no buts. I want this exactly as I wrote it, with me as the main person. He knew what he was worth, and he came back despite being kicked and told no so many times. The amount of famous authors that went to hundreds of publishers just to be rejected, but they got back up, and through their resilience, they were able to make it. That's the most beautiful thing about people, is that you will find strength in the most unexpected places from the most unexpected people. Some people that I've met that have gone through worse tragedies than I will ever experience often have some of the kindest, most loving and nurturing souls. Their resilience is something I envy, because I've gone through things and I've faced failures, and I've been laughed at and mocked at by people I called friends. And at those points, I felt like, man, there's no way I'm going to be able to recover from this. And then I hear stories of people who've lost their parents at early ages, people who had to grow up faster than their siblings because they had to be in charge of them, cancer survivors, burn victims, sexual assault survivors. The list of tragedies almost feels like it's so long that if we were to write them all down, that piece of paper would be the size of a CVS receipt. And if you've ever been to CVS, that's a joke. They just give you these long receipts that go from like head to toe and down the aisle. They're super long. And what I'm saying here is there are so many things out there, and there are so many battles you have no idea that are being fought. But these people are fighting back, using their resilience to make their life what it is. And let me let you in on a little secret. You have that resilience too. You have the ability to make your life any way you want it to be, despite whatever you've been through. You have the power in your hands to control the outcome of things, regardless if the situations that you were in were caused by you or caused by someone else. You are now able to create your future, and I hope that you use your resilience to make your future better and brighter, so that all the things that you deserve come to you in abundance. Everything you see outside of your door, from the flowers to the bugs to the grass to the birds to you in the mirror, all of that is evidence of resilience, of organisms that did not give up. Their lineage did not end with them. They are the byproduct of millions of years of survival, adaptability, and resilience. It's not just about not getting eaten. It's about getting bit and still making it to the next day. If you feel like at this moment you lack resilience, I suggest doing some affirmations, looking yourself in the mirror, making eye contact with yourself, putting a hand on your heart and saying it with feeling. I am resilient. I am resilient. I can bounce back from anything. I am resilient. Take it a step further. Say your name. I, Nate De La Hoya, am resilient. Remind yourself who you are and that you have the ability to not only create the life that you have, but whatever gets thrown at you, you are able to throw it back with such force and such sheer willpower that the universe bends to your will, because you showed that you have true resilience. Feel that energy. Practice that. Affirmations are fantastic because it's a way where we can talk to ourselves. And once we establish a clean communication channel to ourselves, to our unconscious, to our subconscious, to our spirit, we can then tell it what to think and how to believe. So if you're in need of resilience, I highly recommend a couple of days this week. Look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, I am resilient. I can bounce back from anything. I have the ability to to create the world that I want despite whatever I've been through. Build yourself up because your resilience is what's going to make you. It is what's going to create your legacy, and it's what's going to be the driving factor in your ability to contribute. I'll end this episode on a quote by Maya Angelou. Quote, "I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it." That's fucking resilience. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Please consider giving us a follow and a like on all social media under Carpe Natem 114. You can also find us at carpenatem114.com. The website is where we will have all our links to all the episodes that you can stream for free. And of course, you can find us anywhere you prefer to download your podcasts from. Once again, my name is Nate De La Hoya-Reynoso. This has been the Carpe Natem Podcast. And thank you for being one of our listeners today.